main divisions. These are the divisions and subdivisions, but there are three bigger divisions made, which we call matter, force and consciousness. So, they divided him into three ranges. One, 7 sticks, they burnt him as physical matter. The second 7 sticks, they burnt him as force. The third 7 sticks, they burnt him as consciousness. That's why each of us remain as capsules or units of the three principles. From the atom to the solar system, you don't find anything which does not include any one of these three principles. So 3 times 7 are the sticks of fuel. They used, the devas used for the yajna, that is offering and sacrifice. And you have to supplement the information from some other hymns of the Rig Veda, the sooktas, here, to have a complete idea. As Brahma, the four-faced, he had to arrange, fit in the Purusha into the egg with his 7 principles. So you find the 7th, the 6th, and the 5th properly arranged. But he had to find a place for the other principles. You know what he did? It is said that he squared up the remaining 1/4. That means he wanted to prepare the objective creation. And again, he formed the same 4 divisions from the parent principle to the child principle, and he framed these 4 as the lower principles. And then 4, 3, 2, 1, the densest physical. So you have to bring the information of another sooktam or hymn from the same text Rig Veda. Otherwise there will be a gap left. And he multiplied. That is, there is a child once again to this 4-faced little fellow. This fellow is also 4-faced. So they are multiplied. And they multiplied multidimensionally. That means they created a square out of this once again. And what is the result? You borrow information from another hymn, you will find the result is what we call the square on all sides, or what we call the cube, which is otherwise called in the hymn as multi-dimensional square. So by the time the creation was expected to be complete, there will be the cube concealed in a globe. A cube made up of lines of force. That means what we call the etheric body of this cosmos. Therefore we have the anatomy of the cube expressed as our solar system. For example, in a cube, how many right angles do you find on the body of a cube? You have first 6 sides to 6 faces. So, the child is said to be a 6-faced Kumara. That's why in the hands of Lord Shiva or his wife, the Shakti, you find a little child with 6 heads. The picture. The 6-faced Kumara. And how many edges? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 edges. They gave birth to the 12 groups of devas on the plane of radiation called Adityas, who preside over the 12 months of the solar year. Because the solar year is built on the data and model of the cube. And how many corners? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 corners. 8 corners. You have 3 equal divisions of the solar year, producing 3 different climates. Each division contains 8 lunations, that is 4 full moons and 4 new moons. And finally, each corner, how many right angles you have? 1, 2, 3. So 8 into 3, 24 right angles. This gives us the expansion of the year with 24 lunations or 12 full moons and 12 new moons, called the Gayatri. This is what is called the brick of creation in the Rig Veda. The cube is called the brick of creation. And mystically it is said he has thrown the first brick in the northeast corner and began to build the temple. This is just by way of information, just note down, that's all. And do you know how destruction takes place in the hands of Shiva? This is construction of the creation by the creative Deva called Brahma four-faced. In the body of the Lord of Pervasion or equilibrium, Vishnu. Now, when dissolution of a unit creation takes place, that is destruction or dissolving of one universe. You know how it begins, according to the same scripture, Rig Veda. It is split at the geometrical center of the cube, which we call the solar year. Solar year. Then tell me how you can divide the cube into equal parts. There will be? No, there should be exactly of the same size, the pieces. You can do it into 4 cubes. But the cube is a symbol of existence, the activity of Vishnu and Brahma. But here, there should not be a cube among the figures which you prepare after you analyze or split up the cube. You should split up the cube into equal parts which do not contain the cube at all. The result is into pyramids. When a stroke is given at the center of the cube, it is analyzed into 6 pyramids. You know, when 2 pyramids are put like that, head to head, 2 pyramids this side, 2 pyramids this side, 6 pyramids put together form one cube. If you arrange the 6 pyramids on their apexes, they form one cube. Conversely, one cube is analyzed into 6 pyramids. And each pyramid has a triangle as its side and a square as its base. So, the devas of numbers, who are called Prajapatis, are the gods of periodicity, the devas of periodicities, work in 3 and 4, potencies of 3 and 4. So they manifest as the 7 rays of the solar globe out, and as the 12 months of the solar year, the sum and the product of the same units. Of course, today it doesn't mean anything except a little child's play and jugglery of numbers. But tomorrow it means everything to you gradually when you go into it repeatedly and go into the works of Jalkol repeatedly. Now it is only a fun. There is something like child's fun. This is the original science, which was called the science of the builders. Because the devas were the builders. And this is the original meaning of the word masonry. Because mason means a house. In not only in the modern French, but also in the ancient Egyptian language. It is one of the ancient most technical terms used, method. And the word means originally the crystal of light. And the word Freemasonry is not free, but it was Freemasonry in the ancient Egyptian terminology. It meant for them the science of building in light. So now we see the masons doing their work in the Masonic temples. You know what they do. But this is the original, purest form of the holy science which we now call Freemasonry. Now we go to the 8th stanza. Let us see what the Devas did, because they are doing horrible things with this Purusha. This is the first thing. Tam yajnam barhishi prokshan purusham jatam agratah. That's the second line. Purusham jatam agratah. This is the third line. Tena deva ayajanta. That is the third line. Sadhya ऋषयश्च ये.
How do you spell the last name of the first sentence?
Prokshan.
PR.
PR. Prokshan. Tam yajnam barhishi prokshan. Purusham jatam agratah. Tena deva ayajanta. Sadhya, this is a long word. Sadhya rishayascha ye. So this is the 8th stanza, which will go into the word meaning. So we should start with this for prose. Agratah. You can say first, or also in the beginning. That is the meaning of the word agratah. Then you have to take jatam as the second. Who is born? Who is born? Purusham. Him, the Purusha. That is the accusative case. Him, the Purusha in accusative case. Purusha, you can take like Tam means him. Yajnam. Once again, accusative case. Him, the yajna. The person of yajna. They called him yajna. You have to say him, the yajna. Barhishi. That is on the blades of, you can say, blades of sacred grass. Barhishi means on the blades of sacred grass. Proction. Sprinkling. Tena. With him. Tena means with him. Next we have to take Deva. It becomes Devaha. Can split up. The Devas. Ye. Whoever. Next. Sadhyaha. The dormant beings or the potential beings, you can say. Now, you have to split up this word into two. There are two words in it. Rishayascha. Two words. Rishayaha. That is the seers. Cha. Also. Cha means also. You got it in the previous mantras also. Next. Ayajanta. That is the finite verb which ends the sentence. Conducted the yajna. Ayajanta means conducted the yajna. That means the plan, the sacrifice and the offering they have conducted. This is the word meaning. The import is first I will just narrate and then dictate. These devas, they were existing in two different groups. One, the dormant beings who are not yet manifested, or the potential beings like the tree in the seed, and the seers. Two types of devas. The devas are of two types. One devas, those who can see. The other devas, those who are dormant and not yet manifest. So these two types of devas, they came together and captured the fellow Purusha. And now, in the previous stanzas, he tied him and burnt him. That is, made a fire offering, and then now you have see what they have done. They have sprinkled him once again because they found him once again born. They found him already born. They made an offering of the Purusha in the fire, and they found him reborn once again. And they took the reborn fellow and sprinkled him in all sides on the blades of the sacred grass. That means the rays that came out in the form of the sun. That is, the Purusha is brought into existence by the devas of darkness and the devas of light, or the devas of subjectivity and the devas of objectivity, upon the blades of the rays which we call the solar rays. Pre-solar rays we can call them, because the sun globe is made up of those rays. And to distinguish between the solar rays we know, that is post-solar rays, that is what we know, and the pre-solar rays, that is the rays with which the sun globe is made. They call the solar rays also by another name. The seers with variegated tufts. That is the name given in the scriptures. They had colorful turbans, and they all, 7 of them gather with 7 turbans, and they begin to make the sun glow. In another place it is described like, so these fellows, these elders who bring the sun into existence from darkness, they are called the 7 wise men who had variegated tufts or colorful tufts on the heads. So they are pre-solar lights. That is what he means. First, they made a fire offering of him by tying him in 7 layers and offering him as the fire offering with the help of 21 sticks of fire. Then the fellow was reborn instead of dying. Any other fellow would have been dead long ago. But when they have thrown him into fire, he came out in his second form, or the next form of creation. Then immediately they sprinkled him on all sides in the form of the rays that made the solar systems. You see? And then with that sprinkling, with the act of sprinkling, they started the plan of the work, and they began to conduct it, the whole area. So they once again inaugurated the second game of their ritual with sprinkling him on all sides on the blades of grass. Now you take down the translation. Then they received the firstborn Purusha and sprinkled him on the tufts of the blades of sacred grass. The blades of sacred grass. Within brackets you can note the rays that made the sun. The rays. Sacred grass. Yes.
And in brackets?
Within bracket, the rays that made the sun. That is pre-solar light. The light with which the solar systems form. That is one sentence. Thus, the devas of the 2 types, comma, the sadhyas, you use the same words, the sadhyas, you can add S in English. Within brackets you can use the potential devas, close the bracket, and the rishis, you use the same word, rishis, within brackets the seers, close the brackets, performed the yajna with the same Purusha. With the same Purusha. Here we have understood that the devas exist in 2 states of existence. That is the sadhya state and the rishi state. Further information about these 2 states can be also notified for clarification. Devas, sadhyas, that is potential state. Devas are the potential state. As opposite to siddhas, that is objective state or manifestation. Objective state or manifestation. You see, all the devas exist in 2 states. In the night of creation, they exist in the Satya state. In the creation active phase, they exist as Siddha state. That is because they sleep here. They are potential not because there was nobody, but because they were not there. But the Shiva aspect was there. He was awake. The whole, when there is no creation, there is what is called the subjective existence of Shiva. So they are not there. Therefore, they are Satyas, or they are in dormant state, potential state. When they wake up from him, they find themselves objective to each other. They are in the Siddha state. Here we have subdivision. Pitrus, Rishis, and solar devas, who are simply called devas in this picture. If you use the word deva simply, it means solar deva. If you use rishi, it means devas as seers. That means it's a mystic term used. Those who can see. That means the devas of light. Seers means not that who can see, but those who bring the faculty of sight or objectivity. And we have these Pitrus, who are called the lunar devas. The lunar devas. We can call them the builders. They are the builders. Whereas the solar devas are destroyers of form and givers of life. You can ask how they can give life if they destroy. But what we call life, the force which is making us move, is a form of fire which is antagonistic to the phenomenon of matter or physical existence on the lower planes. Life destroys matter, otherwise it cannot create the heat in our body, destroying the food material we are taking. Unless the fuel is burnt, you can't cook food. Therefore, cooking food is a process of destroying the fuel. You know how we are living? We are living because there is every second there is combustion or destruction inside. Otherwise, we don't have the heat we are having and the movement and the activity. Therefore, life is destroyer and form is the killer of life and the lower planes. But on the higher planes where these devas work, they shake hands with each other. They are wonderful friends. Of course, it is a bit subtle, but when you go through the treatise on cosmic fire, not just in flashes, but from the beginning to the ending of the book, twice or thrice carefully, you will understand all these things. Because we cannot readily understand why life is an enemy of matter or matter is an enemy of life. How they coexist. See, the two enemies, the wife and husband, coexist and they beget children. Wonderful fellows they are. They try to kill each other every minute, but they exist in the same house, producing children. This you will be able to understand.